Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
Of course. Yes. Thanks for having me.
Oh, not a problem. It's great to be able to talk to you and talk about this amazing new album from River called Chilling Effect, which is just about a week old now through TP Records. How does it feel
Yeah.
to be releasing an album like this during these times?
Well, it's obviously a little strange. Our label who did the vinyl, the Sony in Berlin, emailed us and was like, "Hey, do you want to delay this?" And we thought about it. They said they didn't think we needed to, and we just thought, it's not like we had some big tour lined up to promote it, and we just thought, look, people are staying inside. They're probably going to want to listen to music. The post office is still going, and people will be streaming it. So I'm actually out of work for the time being, so it's been giving me something to do. So, so a silver lining, I suppose.
Oh yeah, and that's one thing that I am trying to really take out of everything that's going on right now is that people who enjoy music are able to have that time now to be able to check out new music from bands they love, discovering bands, going back and discovering bands, and I'm really hoping that does happen here with River Cult because this is a fantastic album from start to finish, and I just love the tone that you guys are going for. I love the natural progression since the debut album, and yeah, I mean, I'm really glad that you guys still decided to be able to release this and be able to have this
Thanks
out
so
during this
much.
time. Oh, not a problem.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, everything kind of came together, and yeah, we're really happy to be able to work with Sony again. They put out a really nice product, and then having TP Records do digital distribution and some PR for us was great. So yeah, we're really happy with how everything turned out. Initial response was pretty good. People are still checking it out. So yeah.
Oh, that's great to hear. So, with that in mind, I mean, how did the songwriting process begin for this album?
So our last one was 2018, I think. And we just we're always kind of writing songs. And I mean, by the time, I'm trying to think if I think we had maybe Neo Dog in the works when that one came out. So we had that song, and then we just kind of write while we practice the old songs to stay fresh on them. It's kind of an organic process that just happens naturally. And then at some point, it's like, oh, we have enough material for an album, and then we work it out from there.
Oh, that definitely makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad to see that, the songwriting process is that natural, and it's just like you're able to put it together like that. I mean, especially when you had the first album just coming out in 2018, and then you're able to push songs like this just 2 years later. I mean, it's so cool to see the writing process go like that.
Yeah. It's always kind of an organic group thing with us. Often, usually, either me or Anthony, the bass player, comes up with something at home, take it into practice. We work on it. Sometimes we drop things. Like I think there was one song we had like half written, and we were like, it doesn't really fit. Stop playing it. And then like another song that we started to work on and we abandoned. So it's not like everything makes it to the table, but yeah, and it's a song like Chilling Effect, for example, that's so long. It's a lengthy process, obviously, but we don't rush it, and we just kind of jam on things, see if they work. If not, throw it out. And sometimes songs change drastically before they make it on an album, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes we hit them pretty quick. Like Neo Dog, for example, which was a pretty straightforward song that we kind of nailed that one quickly and moved on.
Oh, again, it's funny the way that can work out sometimes. And, sometimes, like the shortest song, like Neo Dog is able to come together so quickly. And sometimes, like Chilling Effect, when, it's like an 11-minute plus song and it starts off the album, which I think is such a cool idea to be able to show off the longest song first on an album, really get people's attention that way. And, it's just like, yeah, it's just... Yeah, and I guess that's another reason why I do love this album is because it's not just the lengths of the songs that are going on there, but just like you mentioned, the songs do feel so natural and organic, and that is such a great way to be able to do songwriting, and I'm glad you guys do that.
Yeah, definitely. It's always it's hard for me to. I mean, I learned guitar. I taught myself and sort of always played with my musician friends, like when I was in high school or whatever. And that's always been my relationship to music, more of an organic kind of just working it out together sort of thing. So yeah, I'm happy to still be doing it that way.
Oh, very much so. And yeah, I mean, again, it's just like it does sound so natural and organic, and I really love the production for that reason too. I mean, it doesn't sound like anything's like resampled. I mean, there's no triggered drums. There's, nothing like that. I mean, it just sounds like you guys are actually playing your instruments, not having to do everything in Pro Tools and everything, and are actually playing the songs. And it's so weird that you have to point that out in 2020.
I know, yeah. I've always believed in more of a, especially with a band like this, it's a three-piece kind of power trio, and we're used to playing together. We've been together for since 2015 now, so we have this relationship musically, and so I like to capture that on recordings. And for this one and the last one, we record all of the bass instrument tracks live in the studio. So I that's important to me for sure.
Yeah, and I really love that approach too. I mean, especially when you're able to get those live takes like that. I mean, that's just another reason why it does sound so natural and organic, because I mean, when you're writing the songs like that and you're actually recording them in one solid take like that, I mean, I think that's a good representation of what the band can do live and really show that you can play the stuff live.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, I gotta imagine that's another downside to everything that's going on right now, obviously, is not being able to go to shows, not being able to play shows, not being able to tour, supporting the bands that way. But yeah, I mean, from what I've seen online and what I've seen from people checking out the music so far, I mean, I have seen a lot of great positive reviews so far for this album, and it's so great to see that too. I mean, it's just like, it feels like it's a great natural progression of, again, where the band is right now, and seeing that the fan base is starting to increase more and more. I mean, it's really warranted on this album, and I'm glad to see that.
Yeah, it does seem to be picking up a bit from the last one, for sure. Definitely good to see.
And, with that in mind, I mean, obviously with the debut coming out 2 years ago and now listening back to this, I mean, how does that feel for you when you, like, go back and you think about those songs compared to what's going on now?
In terms of our first record versus this one?
Yeah.
It's funny. I put the album on, the first album on the other day because I hadn't heard it in a while. And I mean, I had a lot, I was really happy with our first record, and I was worried about this one just because when you make your debut, it's like, obviously I was worried about that too, but it's your first record, so it's like people are just going to take it as it comes. But we did have a pretty good response to it and made some fans. And people are like, "Oh, when's the new one coming out? Oh, it's coming out!" And you're like, "Oh, Jesus, I hope they like it," But I am really happy with it, and I still love the first one. I don't know if I could say I like one more than the other, but I think with Chilling Effect, we kind of picked up where we left off, and we added some new stuff to it. Like there's like long synth intro, which we didn't really do anything like that in the first one, and we messed around with like vocal doubling on 2 tracks, and we did a little more overdubbing on this one. So I think that it's not like this album replaced the first one. I think it kind of it's a natural step, and so yeah, I still really like both.
Oh, and I'm glad to hear that too, because both of them do have their very distinct sounds to them, and it's just like whether you're continuing on with the current progression on the next album, or you take things in a different direction with the next one. It's like it feels like so far that both albums have their own identities to them, and I appreciate that because they do connect together that way. Because you hear the core sound of what the band is going for, but they have their own little flavorings to make them stand out.
Right. Yeah, I would agree. I'm happy to hear that comes off. We recorded with the same person, Charles Burst, the engineer for each album. So, I mean, partially because we didn't want them to sound so different. And also he's just great, and we loved working with him. I worked with him in my previous band too. But anyway, you don't want it to sound exactly like the first record, right? So yeah, I'm glad that it does have its distinct sound from Halcyon days.
Oh, definitely. So, And another thing that's so important when it comes to an album is not just the audio and the production and the songs, but visually as well too. And I really like the fact of what you chose as the album cover. Like, how did that come together to use that this time around?
It's actually funny. So for this cover and the last record, my wife took both the photos on an old Contax camera, old Japanese point and shoot film camera with a nice Zeiss lens. Anyway, so for the first album, it was more like we were all like, "Oh, this photo's awesome. Let's use this." And then for this one, when we were recording, it's like, especially when you're recording live, the whole first day is set up, and like half of that or more is drums, setting up drums. And Charles, our engineer, is a drum guy, so he really takes his time with it. So Anthony and I, my bass player and I, were sitting there bored, like smoking weed and drinking beer and just like waiting till we can do anything. And then so we're like, what are we going to do for the album cover? And we just started like looking at my wife's Instagram where she posts photos, and I was just like, what about this one? And I was kind of like joking because it's a photo of like a fuzzy bunny. And Anthony was like, dude, that's pretty awesome. And I was like, yeah, it is kind of awesome. And then like we asked Todd, and he thought it was pretty cool. And I would just like show it to people and ask them what they thought. And yeah, we just went with it. I think the first album and this one are both kind of like, I don't know, we don't like to do the cliche psychedelic thing, where it's like double letters and colorful, blah, blah, blah. That can be cool, but it's just done so much. So I don't know. I like how with this record you look at it and you're like, what the hell is this kind of,
Oh yeah, I mean, when you look at Halcyon Days and you look at Chilling Effect, I mean, both of them, when you look up like the style of music and you hear about what River Cult is about, and then you look at the album covers, it kind of draws you in, because it's like, well, what does this really sound like? And when you do check it out and you hear what you guys are doing, I mean, I really like that, because again, you're using like natural pictures, and it's so cool to see that.
Right.
Rather than, just like you said, the stereotypical bubble letters and the vivid colors, and just like rainbows coming out of everywhere. I mean, it's real natural stuff that you guys are doing.
Totally. And also I think, being a band from New York City, it's less of like a sunshine and flowers sort of psychedelic thing. And so we kind of like, with our imagery, to have a sort of realism, to kind of capture, I don't know, not that this fluffy bunny is super New York City, but both photos are taken in Bushwick, Brooklyn. So we try to keep that sort of gritty city thing as a part of it as well.
Oh yeah, and I think it totally works with that too. And yeah, and it's just, it is so strange, like like a huge metropolitan city like New York City, and being able to see like a fuzzy bunny out there. I mean, it feels like it's so weird in concept, but the fact that was real and that actually happened, I love that.
Yeah, it was actually in our my wife and I, in our old apartment. It was just a neighbor who had that bunny, and she would just like walk around with it, and it was just coincidentally a great photo, because it's funny because it's technically almost a bad photo because the lighting is behind, and if you're trying to take a photo of like a person, her face is all blurry, but it just like made this like halo of light around the fluffy bunny, and so it was just kind of accidentally perfect.
Yeah, it's just amazing how that works out. And yeah, and it's just, again, like thinking about how Chilling Effect has turned out, and just like continuing on with where the band is right now. And yeah, I mean, I really love everything about where the band is right now. And yeah, again, it's unfortunate we're in the state that we are right now, where you can't promote it as much as you would want to, besides obviously
Right.
doing press and doing social media and things like that. But I'm still, again, going back to it, I'm glad that the album still came out, and for the fans being able to check out some new music, and when things eventually do go back to normal, the songs will be so engraved in people's minds, they'll be chomping at the bit to be able to hear them.
Yeah, I hope so. And yeah, it's like I said, it was like, should we wait to release it? It didn't really seem, I mean, for us, the main goal is always to just have as many people check it out and listen to it. That's why we put it out there. And so it was like, people are going to be home, so they can listen to the album.
Oh, totally. So again, like going back into the album, like another thing I really noticed about the album is, it's like I noticed kind of like the vocals and the lyrics seem a little more prominent in this album than the debut. Was that more of like a conscious effort to do that?
Yeah, it was. I'm always I'm like the reluctant singer. I think my voice is kind of just good enough to hack it, and I don't really like work on it that much, and I should. But I really do consider myself a guitarist first. But for this album, I thought, I mean, I like vocals. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm against them, and so I try to look at what we put out as something that I'd want to listen to, and so I was like, you know, let's I'm giving you a long-winded answer, but the answer is yes. It was a conscious decision on my part to focus a little more on the vocals this time.
Oh yeah, and I do appreciate that too, and I can understand that when it's like being a reluctant singer, and I know what that's like with doing interviews. It's like I love being able to talk and have conversations, but I really don't like my voice. I really, when I listen back to it, it's like there's so many things I wish I could say differently or talk better or something like that. But I still enjoy the act of doing it and being able to promote and stuff like that. And I can imagine that can be that way with doing vocals as well too. I mean, especially when the passion is so much in the instrumentation and being able to play guitar and writing the best riffs that you can. But, taking more of that approach to be able to, progress yourself as a musician, being able to work more on the lyrics, being able to work more on the vocals, and really getting yourself even more well-rounded as a musician.
Yeah, definitely. And once I come up with a vocal that I like and lyrics that I like, I do enjoy singing. So it's not really so burdensome once it's finished. It's more, with me, it's like we write the song and then like sometimes months go by and Anthony and Tav are like, okay, what is the song called? Come on, the vocals, because it's like we want to play it live and I don't have the lyrics yet. And I'm like, and also lyrics are important to me and I don't want to just do some throwaway thing. And so I kind of have to like wait till something inspires me. So it takes a while, but once I do get it together, I do enjoy doing it.
Oh, that's great to hear that too. So, thinking about that, I mean, obviously, like you said, you want to be able to wait for inspiration to hit and then being able to focus on that when it comes to lyrics. Was there like any song in particular on this album that was like a real challenge to be able to get it, but then it eventually felt right?
Yeah, for some reason, it might be surprising since it's the most straightforward song. Neo Dog was kind of like that. I think it's partially because the riff is very like stop and start, and I was kind of like, like how am I going to sing to this? One of the ways I come up with, if you play guitar and sing and you're not like, I mean, someone who's like really good at it is able to separate the two very easily. But like I said, since I'm more of a guitarist, it's easy to get trapped into sort of like singing with the riff, like, like with the sort of like pattern of the riff. And so I like to like before we do records, we demo everything. And I basically come up with the vocal melodies that I hadn't yet by listening to the song and singing over it rather than playing and singing over it. And that's to avoid just getting stuck and doing the same kind of pattern you're doing on the guitar. But anyway, Neo Dog, it just took me a while. I don't know. I couldn't hear it in my head. Oftentimes when I write a riff, I hear the vocal in my head like very quickly. But for some reason, it just took a while with that one. And I am happy with it now, but I was worried about it.
Yeah, and it's funny how that can come together, kind of like we were talking about in the beginning. It's just like even though it's the most forward, straight ahead song, and you're able to get that song done or recorded so quickly. I mean, the fact that it did take a while for lyrically and being able to sing the right parts for it was a bit of a challenge. And yeah, it goes to show like you never know what part of a song's going to be a bit more challenging for somebody, but when you listen back to it, it does feel like such a great natural song, and it's so cool to see that you were able to overcome any problems with that and make such a killer song out of it.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. And also we had, we booked the session and I didn't even have all the vocals done because our drummer was going away and we don't want to wait too long and we were trying to work out everything. We needed to do it at this weekend. And I mean, I probably finished the vocals 100%, maybe like 2 days for the record. And like, for some of them hadn't sang them with the band before. And Anthony and Tav were hearing them for the first time, which was like a little nerve wracking for me. I was in the booth and I was like, all right, I hope they like this. But yeah, considering all of that, I'm very happy with how it ended up. Everything kind of came together last minute a little bit on this record, but it all did come together, I think.
Oh yeah, and I totally agree with that. From start to finish, I mean, it is such a killer, solid album, and I'm glad to see the praise that it's getting so far. I'm glad that press is picking up on the album, being able to review it and do interviews and being able to promote this album, because it's definitely worthy of all the praise that it's getting, and I'm really glad to see that is picking up in 2020, and it's all the more reason why I hope that everything does eventually somewhat go back to normal, and being able to play these songs live and continue to get the name out there, because I think there's a lot of momentum that's going to continue building off this album.
Thank you. Yeah, we hope so too. Once we're able to start, we're not a big, like, very long tour type of band, but once this all blows over, we're definitely going to be looking to play out of state, do some shorter, maybe week, 2 week long tours, and we like to do like one-off shows that are like easy to get to over the weekend. We play up in New Paltz sometimes with our friends. It's Not Night at Space. We're really great. And yeah, we're looking forward to, I think the only 2 songs we've played live off this album are Chilling Effect and Neo Dog. So most of these we've never gotten a chance to play live. So definitely looking forward to being able to do that eventually.
So, with that in mind, I actually didn't realize you had the opportunity to play any songs off this album. What was it like being able to premiere those songs before everything happened?
So yeah, Neo Dog we had written for kind of a while. So we played that a few times live, and it had been a while since we played a new song, so it was exciting. You wonder how people are gonna like it. I think we even played that song once with no vocals because it's kind of a short song. I just thought whatever. And then Chilling Effect. It was fun. That's a long one, so it's kind of like a lot to remember. But we had a good response from the crowd, and I think it helped gain some interest in what we had coming. But yeah, those are the only 2 we've done live.
Oh yeah, and that's all the more reason it's going to be exciting when you guys are able to get back out there, play more off of this album, and being able to switch up the set list and be able to have fun with that, and just playing shows again. Be it the one-offs, be it like a week or 2 or touring, or whatever the case is. I mean, just being able to go out there and show that this album was really meant to be a collection of songs that are meant to be played live.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be rewarding to finally be able to do it.
Awesome. And I think with that, that's an amazing note to end on. Thank you so very much for taking this time to be able to talk to me about everything that's going on in the world of River Cult right now. And of course, the brand new album Chilling Effect, which has been out just about a week now, coming out on the 1st of May through TP Records. I think this is such a great album. I think it's so great that you're able to show your personalities and show that you can show different sides of the band throughout this album. And of course, with the first album as well. But just continuing to forge your own path in the style that you do, and just being able to continue moving that forward. And it was just great to be able to talk to you about all of it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Josh.
Oh, not a problem. Before we wrap things up, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
No, I don't think so. Just head over to our Bandcamp and give the record a listen. And if you're into vinyl, buy the vinyl. I will add that we actually ended up getting more records this time around, because I think Germany was having some, because of everything going on, issues shipping to the U.S. So they sent us a good chunk. So limited to 300, but we do have a good chunk this time around. So, and you're saving a ton on shipping buying it from Berlin. So head over to our Bandcamp page and pick up the album.